everybody, to the LIPSEY'S Aim Higher podcast. As always, across from me is Jason Klossner.
Rob, I mean, the dogwoods are blooming, the turkeys are gobbling.
Oh,
man.
boy,
it's spring. I love it.
It's gun season, isn't it?
Yep.
It's always gun season. So, again, welcome, everybody. We're going to cover a couple different topics today. One is going to involve a little bit of travel with Jason here. Finally, as the flowers are blooming, we're traveling a little bit.
Yeah, we finally let out the cage a little bit here, kind of get on the road and see some industry people having a little event. So it was nice.
Our listeners have been pretty active, too. We've got a nice little stack of questions. So we're going to talk exclusives. We're going to get to some of the questions that people have been sending in as well that we want to tackle and get some answers on. And Jason will provide insight there. So I guess we'll start really with this week. Like I said, you got to travel a little bit. I know that's in normal times. There's quite a bit of that going on.
Right, just to be another trip. But it's been pretty much since SHOT Show of 2020.
Yeah.
Since really any kind of industry gathering has really taken place. And this was a small-scale event. It was something that the Professional Outdoor Media Association originally had put together. POMA, right. And they kind of teamed up with NASGW, which is the National Association of Sporting Goods Wholesalers, which we're obviously a member of.
Right.
And wanted to make it kind of a shooter showcase type event where they had vendors there kind of showing some of the a few new guns. Most of it was stuff that maybe was introduced earlier in the year, but just nobody had really gotten their hands on it yet. Right. But there was a lot of media types out.
I purposely didn't ask you too much about this beforehand because I knew we would do this and talk about it. And again, with the show, we want to try to provide a little bit of inside information, if you will, when we can, about things that we do. A lot of days, listen, we've got computers, we sit at desks, we punch keys and do what everybody else does, but we do get to do some cool stuff, and that's times like this that I wanted to share. So back to the trip, Jason. So where was it? Where the actual location of it?
It was actually right out of Talladega, Alabama.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like channeling Ricky Bobby out there, man.
That's
looking
right.
for him. I didn't see him, but no, it was cool. It was at the CMP range, which is a civilian marksmanship program deal. Outstanding facility.
I heard a couple.
Oh my goodness,
Jared, who you went with. So.
Yeah, a couple of our buyers went with me, and I tell you what, that facility is awesome. If you haven't been there, it's worth it. I mean, it's spread out over a huge piece of property. The technology they have there, as far as being able to. The video cameras watching your targets. You don't have to go walk down and look.
Talk about that for just a second, because he was explaining that to me and actually showed a couple pictures. It looked really cool. This might be another episode of what makes great ranges.
Oh, yeah.
What separates the pack when it comes to gun ranges.
Oh, this one's going to be tough to beat. I mean, what
are some of the bells and whistles out there?
Yeah, the really cool range they had was they had all these real life-size steel targets of different animal sizes at various ranges. They weren't set distances. Right. And, and they had a bunch of the vendors with rifles set up and shooting those. I mean, they had like an elk out at, I think, 680 yards. And
did you nail it?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Took him down?
Oh, yeah. But, and that was really neat. But then they also had the actual banks of, 100-yard, rifle benches and stuff like that. Right. Where they had these cameras that are right on each target. So you're sitting there, you're shooting off the bench, and you just look over to your right, and there's your target right there, and it tells you exactly. You
got a video screen.
Video screen tells you where you hit. It shows you your group size, which shot was which. Man, it was awesome. It was great.
That's nice because I'm half blind these days. So looking through, looking down range and messing with the stand and wind sometimes blows your
spotting scope.
Yeah, spotting scope. Yeah. Thank you. Blows it around or you bump it or something. It's like, oh gosh, it takes 10 minutes to reset that.
No, and, and usually, especially if you're shooting or sighting in by yourself. It's just a lot of getting up and down, and you lose that consistency of being able to just actually hunker down on the gun and do the same thing every time. Yeah, that makes it easy. I mean, it was really cool. But they had a great pistol ranges. We didn't really go on the shotgun part, but they had everything there. It was a if you live in northern Alabama, that's what a luxury.
That's a place to go. Yeah. Huh? So they were, like you said, the media types there. new products? I mean, what did you get to taste test some things?
Yeah, we did. There was, obviously the ammunition situation was a little limited, so it wasn't like
two rounds for everyone.
Yeah, it wasn't like back in the day when you'd go and they'd be like, all right, shoot till you get tired kind of thing. It was like, okay, here's your 5 rounds. Have fun.
Right.
But no, it was great. They had a bunch of different manufacturers were there. Taurus was there, and they just introduced the new G3 Toro this week.
Oh,
and they
nice.
had one out there. It's their optics ready G3 and G3C.
Yeah.
Tell you what, those guns really are impressive. We've been selling the G3s here for I think a couple years now, and man, they're good guns. They're really good guns.
Taurus is one of those manufacturers. They're always improving. They're always changing things up for the better. New products. I mean, they're really quite innovative. I mean,
they're not scared to try something new.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they added the optics cuts. They're really low to the gun, and I tell you what, they were pretty easy to shoot.
Really?
And, I was really impressed with them. They had their new 460 Smith & Wesson revolver out there, which it was a brute. They had I think they had a 4, a 6, and maybe an 8-inch gun. Of course, I wanted to shoot the 4-inch gun.
Oh yeah, right.
It wasn't bad. It's got the ports, so it's not terrible. To me, a 460 is a lot more bark than it is bite as far as that goes. But it'll get your attention too. But it was fun. I mean, it was just something different to shoot.
I remember the days when you and I went out shooting some of the big guns, and
that'll be an episode of Rob's taste into big bore revolvers.
We'll have to show that video one time.
Right.
I think I just stood there and held it for 10 minutes, just getting my head around what was about to happen.
Yeah, no, and of course he'd get turned around with that wasn't bad.
No, it really isn't. It's not as bad as you think.
Right.
But, what else you see out there?
Yeah, well, the Savage was out there, and they had the new Savage Impulse rifle, which is their straight pull style gun. That's pretty innovative. It's ambidextrous and everything, and I tell you, that gun shot great. I mean, it was a tag driver. And, I don't have a lot of time behind straight pull guns, and probably most people in the U.S. don't. There's really not a lot of options, and a Blouser makes one, but you don't really see a lot of them out there.
What's the practical use for that? I mean,
it's quick. It's quicker than a bolt action. It's just back and forward. You don't have the up and back and then straight and back down. So it's a little bit quicker.
Is it like a charging handle style? I mean,
it's like a bolt. It's like a bolt action rifle.
Just comes straight back.
But you just pull it straight. The whole bolt comes straight back and then forward. You don't have to lift it up.
I haven't shot one of those.
Yeah. Well,
that style.
Yeah.
I mean.
Right. Yeah. It's cool. But I tell you, the gun itself, man, it was tag driver. They had it seemed like everybody had 6.5 Creedmoors out there.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Right.
But man, that thing shot great. I watched several different people through the little video screen shoot it.
Right.
And I don't think anybody shot a group that was much over half an inch with that thing.
Really?
It was impressive.
Man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So,
what else you see? Anything else out there?
Yeah. I tell you what, Glock didn't have any new guns out there, but they were out, and I got to shoot the new 40 caliber Gen 5 guns.
Okay.
They had a 22 and a 23 out there, and for guys that don't know, they did change the dimension slightly on those guns. The slides are a little bit wider. If you're familiar with the Glock 37s and 38s, which are the 45 gap pistols, those slides were always a little bit wider than the standard 9mm 40 caliber slide. And these new 40s have that little bit wider slide. It adds a little bit of weight up top, so it should help the durability of the 40 caliber pistols, but it also made it a much smoother, softer shooting gun. I was really impressed. Usually the Glock 23 is pretty snappy.
Yeah.
This gun shot great. It was really soft shooting.
Is 40 cal coming back around? Is this Glock's a trendsetter?
Yeah, I think 40 probably it will eventually.
Yeah,
all this stuff does. I mean, look, let's face it. 15 years ago, 10mm was dead.
Right.
And now it's the hot thing.
Right.
So I think everything tends to be cyclical. I'll tell you, this last year, 40 really had an increase because the ammo was available.
Yeah.
The problem is that the ammo companies have scaled back 40 caliber production so much that I think it'll take a while for it to catch back up.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I think long term, I do think 40 will get a comeback.
I like a 40 caliber. I'm not a trendy guy, so I have one and I stick with it. I like to shoot it. So
yeah. Well, You know, who knows? It's I think, you know, just like anything.
It's not my only gun, but I mean,
right.
It's one that I don't mind shooting at all. As a matter of fact, I like it. So.
Right. Yeah. And in guns like that are built around the 40, it's a lot more comfortable than guns that were built as 9mm and then just made into a 40.
Yeah. Which can be maybe an afterthought even sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's going to be a little tough on a gun.
Right.
Century Arms was out there. They had their AP5, which is their MP5 clone gun out there.
Oh, cool.
That gun shot great. HK was there, and they had the SP5, the real one, and
right.
And both those guns really shot good. I mean, it's you know, with all the pistol caliber carbines out there and everything, you know, there's so much out there. But man, when you pick up that MP5 style gun, you remember why it's so cool.
Yeah, those are awesome.
They just shoot so great. So those were out there. SIG had the cross rifle out. We got to shoot it a bunch at that long range. I mean, hitting that 600-yard, whatever it was, elk was pretty easy.
Right.
They had the SIG BDX scopes on there with the rangefinder and everything. So you'd hit it with the rangefinder, the dot would pop up in the scope. I mean, easy button all over that.
Yeah.
That cross rifle shot really nice.
You got some hardware to play with there, didn't you?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of good participation.
That's good. That's encouraging.
Yeah. So no, that was great. And then they had one of the SIG 320 APXs out there, which the APX is an aluminum frame 320.
Okay.
So they, you know, for guys who like a more traditional metal gun,
right? Same
striker fired system as a 320. They had a model out there that's going to be a Talo exclusive that's coming out really soon.
Okay.
And I tell you what, that gun shot awesome.
Really?
Oh man, I tell you, you know, at first when they first talked about doing those, I was like, okay, that's cool, you know, interesting, but probably not something that I would personally grab. I'm telling you what, I was thinking about it hard the whole drive home, man.
Right.
That one's probably going to have to make it into the fold.
Well, how's the weight and feel with that?
You know, the weight was not much more because aluminum's really not heavy.
Right.
But you can put grip panels on it. You know, that's the thing about a polymer pistol. There's no way to really put a grip panel.
Kind of is what it is.
Yeah. Yep. So with the aluminum, actually, there's panels on there, and I'll tell you what, man, it just fit my hand perfectly. For guys out there that are familiar with Browning high powers and just know that feel.
A classic.
That Browning high power, everybody picks it up and goes, oh, man, it fits my hand perfect. I tell you, this SIG 320 APX has that kind of feel to it.
Nice.
Yeah, good gun. Good
wow.
gun. So.
What's the time frame on a lot of this stuff? You think this is all springtime, basically?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff has already been announced and it has started shipping.
Yeah.
I know we had some of the G3 Toros, I think, show up this week, and wasn't a ton, but we had some. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is going to be stuff that is either available now or will be very shortly. So
good.
Yeah, we talked to some guys. There's some new stuff that's coming, and I think I think we're trying to start finally seeing some of the new products that people have been sitting back on, waiting for things to slow down. Not that things are slowing down, but at least to where they can get their manufacturing back in order. Let's face it, things are starting to open back up. As people are getting these factories back to 100%, I think you're going to start seeing some cool products coming out in the next few weeks.
I have to imagine there's has to be a ton in the development stage that's been, sitting as a blueprint or maybe a little bit further along than that.
Oh, no doubt.
That everything had to come to a screeching halt. It's like, wait a second, we just got to crank some guns out right now.
Well, because a lot of these guns use the same machinery to produce.
Sure.
So even if it's a new gun, it might say, when you're planning all this manufacturing out, you're obviously looking for efficiencies.
Right.
And so if you can use this, this bank of CNCs to make the same gun as this one, well, that's what you want to do. You don't have to go spend millions of dollars on new CNCs.
Right.
But when you've got more orders than you can make on that gun, it doesn't make any sense to add a new gun into that fold and just dilute everything. So you're going to start seeing a lot of stuff coming out. It generally as a general rule of thumb in the industry, it's about a 3-year development process from conception to hitting the market.
Right.
With a new product. And so, I mean, just 3 years ago, if you remember, people who were tuning in 3 years ago, the market was soft.
Yeah.
It was the Trump slump. Everybody was giving, you could buy 9mm ammo for $8 a box.
Everybody was comfortable. No urgency.
Yeah. Stuff, inventory was piled up. And so manufacturers were really, looking at new stuff, new products, how to spur things up. So all that stuff is now finally getting into the
start hitting the shelves.
It's starting to get into the, okay, we can make it, stage. And now I think, hopefully we can get past all this pandemic stuff. We can start seeing this stuff hit the market.
Well, it seems like we're heading that way. I hope, at least.
Yep.
Nobody knows yet. But what else you got? Is that the rundown, or any other highlights there? Or?
Yeah, it's funny. Another thing at the Glock booth, I haven't really had a whole lot of trigger time with the 43X and the 48. I've shot them a little bit, but never really extensively and really side by side. And I thought, because I've been kind of thinking, which one of these I'm going to go, get.
Right.
I really thought the 48, which you guys who aren't familiar, the 48 is this kind of the single stack, slim G19 size gun.
Right.
43X, same grip, but a little bit shorter barrel. I really was leaning towards the 48.
They're kind of in between, like your standard 43 and the Glock 19. They're
Correct.
Filling that fairly small gap there, but
correct. But it's a very shootable gap.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a sweet spot.
Yeah.
I tell you, shooting them both side by side, the 43X is the way to go.
Really?
Yeah. It actually surprised me. I thought the 48 would be for me, but I think the 43 is a little, for whatever reason, it's a little flatter shooting. And it's quicker to recover from it.
So enough,
I liked it.
Enough to fill the hand, but be extremely concealable as
yeah.
well.
And it's just very shootable.
Yeah.
Now with my eyes aren't bad enough yet to have to go to a red dot.
Right.
But I think when that happens, which probably won't be too much longer,
a couple more years.
Yeah.
You're like 2 behind me.
Yeah.
Just wait.
I think when that happens, I think that would be a really good candidate for a gun. Because with a shorter barrel, you're not worried about sight radius. Doesn't matter if you're using a red dot. It doesn't matter if the sights are close or far apart or not.
Right.
So,
right.
I think the 43X would be a sweet one.
Excellent.
Yep.
Any other rumors? Any other news? anything shareable? I know we've got to keep some things. We've got to keep some excitement.
Yeah. Well, I will say this.
Anything you can tease, I'll put it to you that way.
Well, yeah. In the next week, 2 weeks, you'll see some pretty cool new product announcements.
Really?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You have to tell me after the show.
I don't know, man.
You got NDAs?
Yeah, we'll see. No, but there's going to be a couple of really cool guns that are coming out in the next, I think the next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is that time of year.
Yeah.
We forget because we've been this
I know.
twilight zone for so long.
Right.
This is the normal time of year.
We were laughing at the event. We were talking about. We felt like Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Yeah.
When he showed up with the long hair like he's been on the island forever.
Exactly.
I haven't seen some of these guys in a year and a half. It's like, God, man, you got old. Man.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
But
it's nice to reconnect.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
It might be a good deal for next week's podcast, just to go over maybe those 2 new products.
Oh, so that's it. You're betting on it now.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Well, maybe we'll break that down then.
Yep.
I like that.
I tell you, if you do go out there, you remember the CMP, you can get they have all the M1 Garands and stuff out there.
Oh, old school.
Oh yeah, man. So they got you can go, and that's where they they get them in a grade amount and refinish some of them, and they have a little shop there where you go and you can pick out your own Garand or 03 and
really?
everything. Oh, it was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time looking at Garands too while we were there.
I know you're a throwback.
Yep.
You like the old school stuff.
Yeah.
That's my dad's era. He loves all those old guns. He loves the World War II stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, we were laughing on the ride back. We're like, yeah, we're going to be sitting with these Garands, watching Saving Private Ryan and a Lazy Boy this weekend, So.
Oh man. Well, hey, let's get to a few questions. We've got a healthy little stack here, and we thank you for sending these in. We've actually got a lot of input on not just the show, but just questions in general. Exclusives always seem to be the hot topic. That is our thing. That's really what we're known for. That's a big reason for us doing this, is to expand on the exclusives and how those come to fruition for Lipsey's here. But so Jason handpicked a few of these. I'm going to read these the best I can. I got to put my readers on those. So here's our first one. So Jason, I'm going to read these to you, and I'm going to let you answer them.
All right.
This is from RBA Outfitters, it looks like. We'd be very interested in hearing how Lipsey's have dealt with the current supply and demand situation over the last year relative to distribution challenges and what measures are taken to prep for such complicated events. Thanks and good luck with the show. So that
pretty much summed up 2020 for sure.
Yeah, challenges to say the least.
Well, the thing is, and I think what a lot of people have to remember is there was no playbook for this.
Right.
I mean, you can come up with all these contingencies of what if happens if this bill passes? What happens if this gun, gets introduced or whatever? But you can't take into consideration the whole United States economy practically shutting down for, for months. And
unfortunately, we can be a little headline driven, which isn't where we love to be.
No.
But there's some precedent even for that. For this, there's no precedent.
No, there was nothing, because it really hit us in three different ways. So you had it was an election year, so we were already planning on it being a busy year.
Right.
We knew 2020 was going to be, especially from the later half of the year, was going to be really, really intense.
Right.
So you had that going already. The shutdowns obviously caused manufacturing delays. A lot of people forget that, a lot of the, Meccar is a big OEM manufacturer of magazines for a lot of these companies, and they're in Italy. If y'all remember, Italy was shut down for months.
Well, there's a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of small shops out there that make small pieces and parts and things like that. So you figure, let's say it's a 10-man shop and 2 go down with COVID. That's 20% of your workforce, right? I mean, that hurts. I mean, for, a 100-person company plus like we are, 2 people, we can handle that. It's unfortunate, but we can plow through it. But some of these smaller shops that do play a pivotal role in the supply chain, the disruption was, again, unprecedented.
Oh yeah. And so you had all that to deal with, and then obviously you had the increase in demand.
The biggest driver for sure.
Yeah, industry saying there was 8 million first-time gun buyers in 2020.
Right.
And you throw that in the loop with manufacturing capabilities diminished, and then you also have the election year anxieties on top of it.
Right.
It was a perfect storm for just not being prepared for it. We were going into 2020, at LIPSEY'S was being, we were riding high. We were going to be stocked. We were prepared for an increase in production, and we were growing our sales deal, but we couldn't prepare for that.
No.
And then what happened was by about May, June, all the inventory was flushed out of the manufacturers, was gone.
Yeah.
So then it was hand to mouth for the rest of the year.
And I'll brag on our buying team. We got the best buying team in the business.
Oh, no doubt.
They bought everything that you could possibly buy.
Right.
Any gun that came available. Yep. Trust me, they were gunning for it. No pun intended. But they were trying to get it in here.
Yeah, you can't buy what's not there.
Yeah.
So obviously we, and then try to get all that out and get it out to dealers in a responsible way, as far as trying to get as many people taken care of as possible.
Sure.
It's there's no perfect science to it, but we try to do our best to try to get it out as much as we can.
Well, here's another question. Let's see. Tim Elliott, do you still sell the Ruger Blackhawk in 44 Special with a 4.5-inch barrel? I think it has a flat top frame.
Yeah, he's talking about the flat top 44 Specials that we initially did in 2009. Mm-hmm. So that was the mid-size flat top Ruger Blackhawk with a regular grip frame, and we did those in 44 Special. That was the hottest gun that year.
Mm-hmm.
In 2009 was a heavy AR year because it was the first year of the Obama administration.
Yeah, you're right.
But and I remember when I went to my boss, and said, "Hey, look, I want to do this single action revolver in 44 Special," and he looked at me like I was absolutely insane. And I'm like, "No, I'm telling you, man."
For the 3 people out there that want one right now?
Yeah, he didn't understand. Man, this is AR and Glocks, I'm saying, "No, I'm telling you, man, this is it." And of course, we ended up selling, like 3,500 of them that first year. It did so well that Ruger ended up putting it in the line.
Right.
In 2010. So to answer your question, we don't still offer that gun. Ruger put it in the line and ran in the line for a few years and then discontinued it. We still do the 44 Special flat tops with the Bisley grip frame.
Right.
So we do a 4 5/8 and a 5.5-inch Bisley flat top. So that one is still available.
Cool. Let's get to Hector Ruiz. My glasses don't fit good under these headphones. Let me see. Awesome first episode, guys. I loved it. How about an episode where you do like a top 10 or 5 budget handguns or striker fire pistols? That's a great suggestion.
I like that one. Yeah. Because, again, we have all these first-time gun buyers, and a lot of them really, you know, they don't know the brands. You know, and there's, trust me, there's information overload on the internet on this stuff. So that would be a good one.
Imagine picking your first polymer pistol right now.
Right.
Seriously. Like if you didn't really know too much about it, but you were
even
interested.
When you know a lot about it
right.
and stuff right now. Because, I mean, the features are so rich right now on these guns.
Yeah.
I think that really would be a good whole episode to go over that.
We'll do it.
Yep.
We'll do it. Thank you, Hector. Okay. And Whitney Johnson. All right. We got some females involved. That's great. Super excited for the podcast. Sorry, my glasses in these headphones. Would love to hear more about the exclusive guns. The descriptions on your website never do them justice. So I can kind of start to answer that. That's why we're doing this, Whitney. So we can talk more about it. I mean, that, again, the lion's share of questions I know that you're getting have to do with our exclusives and old stuff, new stuff. Right. Can we make this? Can you do that? Mm-hmm. And we're definitely going to dive into that. So
yeah, you know, when we do our descriptions on our our website and product releases and stuff, it's hard to get into the true backstory, the thought process, the inspirations of a lot of these projects.
Right.
And the podcast is the venue for us to be able to do that. Even when we do our product videos, I mean, it's hard to ramble on a video and keep it interesting and everything. But this is being the kind of a Q&A situation. It lends itself well to be able to kind of get deeper into those things. So you listeners out there, if there is a particular exclusive that you want to hear some backstory on, you want to know, hey, why did you decide to do this? Why this cartridge? Why this barrel? Why this configuration? Man, let us know. We'd love to get into those, but we want to do the ones that you want to hear about. Yeah,
absolutely. And by the way, you can email podcast@lipseys.com. Jason really kind of mans that email box, so he'll respond to you.
Yeah, you email that inbox, you're going to get a response from me.
Yeah, he'll shoot you an email back, and we're going to keep. We'll probably do this. Start doing this every episode, at least fielding a few questions, and then maybe some of these we can expand on further.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we go.
Yeah,
so
we do have plans to really dive into some of our more what I would consider higher profile exclusives, the number ones and the Ruger flat tops like the gentleman asked about earlier. Really get into the weeds on those as well.
Yeah, there's some good stories that I've heard many, but I know there's some I haven't even heard, just kind of where some of these guns come from, the concepts and conversations you have, maybe a beer at SHOT Show and you never know what's going to happen when you're talking to one of the engineers from a manufacturer, and next thing you know, something's in the works. So.
Most of the good stuff does not come from the boardroom. It comes from out hunting somewhere or whatever. So
yeah, exactly. Well, I think we'll wrap it up, Jason. Again, podcast@lipseys.com if you want to send us an email. And also you can go to lipseysguns.com or lipseys.com. That's our dealer site. But lipseysguns.com, that hosts all of our other podcasts. I'm good. I think that's it, right?
I think it's it, man. It's time to go turkey hunting. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go turkey hunting. April 1st, right? Prime time. Let's get that. We're getting there.
Oh yeah, it's opens this weekend in Mississippi.
I was going to say we kick off. We'll get out there and go turkey hunting. Until next time. Good hunt.